When you think of a Native person, what comes to mind?
I think of a person of color with long dark hair.
Appearance.
When I think of a native person, I think of the Dakota, I think of the Ojibwe, and I think of powwows,
Powwows and nature.
I think of sage and I guess incense to some degree.
I'd say first thing I think of is like a person who has been generationally fucked over. Just the cards have always been dealt against them as far as, the whole colonization and being murdered and all of those things.
I think of I think honestly, I think of connection to land, understanding land, and being being a component of a larger ecosystem as opposed to imposing your will upon it. Um, yeah, that's what I think about.
Obviously, it's deeper than that. I can't think of specifics right now. Um, but I guess I think for overall, when I think of a Native person, I think of resilience and having close ties to the past and someone who thinks about how to continue that into the future.
Bujun and Jamie Indigenous cause.
When you think of an Anishinaabe person, what comes to mind?
The one that always gets food and builds teepees. And be kind.
Where in Duluth do you see Natives being represented?
Denfeld High School, because they always try to represent natives whenever they can, and we recently just got the Fond du Lac flag for our students.
At my school and at the YMCA. Those are the awards.
First thing I thought of is the lovely professor I had last year, Miss Taylor Rose Payer. We would always start class by saying buju and every once in a while learning some words.
On campus, usually.
In Sheena Hall, I usually think of that as well. There's a little bit of representation there.
Like at graduations during their speech or performances.
I think of George Morrison, the native artist, who I believe is from somewhere. No, it was somewhere by Superior, not Duluth, but somewhere on the Superior Lake, and used lots of inspiration from that, and has a exhibit in the Met right now.
In Duluth, I see natives represented. I don't see them being represented. I really don't. I'll keep it real.
Other places in Duluth, I know there's some names of streets. I know of the powwow that takes place, but I don't know anything besides it taking place.
Do you know what the 1854 treaty land means?
No, I don't. I do not know what the 1854 land treaty would entail.
I have heard of it. I don't know if I could tell you explicitly what it is.
I think I've heard of it, but don't know exactly what it's about.
If I had to make an educational guess, it would be a treaty from 1854 that I would hope would be to not take away land, like designate, I don't know.
That we live in Duluth.
I think it's the territory we live on.
How could you unforget?
To remember the things they wanted us to forget.
As far as unforgetting things, I think, again, talking about the connection that we have to the land, what is best for the land around us long term. I think many of us and, many of the powers that have been over the past few centuries, they don't really move with respect of the land in mind, and I think it's evident because it's not really their land. I think we've dug up dozens and I mean like millions, billions of acres of land to, run pipes through and run the cables through and stuff like that, highways and all these things. Um, we pollute the water. Like a lot of freshwater sources we pollute for things like I don't know, like data centers, like AI, large language models, things like that. I think those are things that I've had to do a lot of work on my end to try and contextualize in my current life and understanding what I could do to potentially halt those things.
Yo, yeah, I do wanna. I should unforget and learn about the treaty, especially since there is a land acknowledgement in every single class I have taken that the teachers have not really gone over, which is also somewhat to my own fault for not knowing. Like, it's not their responsibility.
Yeah, I would say that the things I'm trying to unforget are what it means to know the land around you and to respect it, to move in harmony with it, and also to understand that, like, realistically, none of this should be here.
Get a